I saw her for the first time on a Wednesday. At least, I thought it was the first time. I was leaving the cafe near my office when something in the window caught my eye. A reflection that wasn't mine. She stood just behind my shoulder in the glass, smiling faintly, though I was alone on the street. And she looked like me. Not similar, not could be sisters. She was me, but better. Cleaner lines in her face, brighter eyes, posture without hesitation. A version of me I'd always imagined but never seen. When I turned, she was gone. That night, I told myself it was stress. Work had been swallowing me alive lately, and Daniel, my almost fiancé, had been more of a ghost than a partner. He said he was working late. I'd stopped believing that weeks ago. Still, I didn't tell him about her. Somehow it felt like the kind of thing you don't share, not even with someone you trust. But over the next few days, she kept appearing, always in reflective surfaces, shop windows, car mirrors, even the gleam of my phone screen when it went dark. She never moved unless I looked away. Then, when I glanced back, her head would be tilted in a slightly different way, as if she'd been studying me. One evening, walking home, I saw her in the glass of a darkened boutique. Only this time, she lifted her hand and tapped the inside of the glass. I stopped dead. Her lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear, and then she smiled in a way that was both inviting and possessive. The next day, I got a message from an unknown number. It was a single sentence. "She's almost here." I deleted it, but the words stayed in my head. When I finally told Daniel, he laughed, the kind of laugh that says you're being ridiculous without even trying to hide it. "You've been binging those horror podcasts again, haven't you?" he said, scrolling through his phone while I talked. I wanted to scream at him, to shake him until he looked at me, really looked, but instead, I swallowed it. It was later, lying in bed, that I woke to the sound of whispering, not from the hallway or the street, but from the mirror across the room. My own reflection stood there in the dark, lips moving in silent rhythm, eyes locked on mine. And behind her, Daniel, he was smiling at her. I jolted up, and the vision shattered. Daniel slept beside me, breathing slow and even. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I noticed something strange in the bathroom mirror. My reflection blinked a fraction of a second too late, just enough to notice, just enough to make my skin crawl. That's when I decided to avoid mirrors altogether. It sounds crazy, but it felt like giving her less space to appear. I covered the ones at home, kept my head down on the streets, avoided shiny surfaces. It didn't help. She started appearing in other places, the surface of my coffee, a puddle after rain, and each time her smile was wider, hungrier. Then, one night, Daniel didn't come home. I tried calling. No answer. Around midnight, I got another message from that same unknown number. "He's with me now." I didn't want to believe it, but in my gut, I knew. The next day, I followed Daniel's usual route home from work. At the corner near the old theater, I froze. Through the dusty glass of a boarded-up shop, I saw them. Daniel, leaning close to her, my perfect twin, laughing like he hadn't laughed with me in months, and she turned her head slowly, locking eyes with me through the glass. That smile again. I ran. I didn't stop running until my lungs burned and my legs threatened to give out. Even then, I didn't go home. Somehow, I knew she'd be waiting there. Instead, I found myself walking aimlessly through the quieter streets on the edge of the city, places I never had reason to visit. That's where I saw her, not my double, but an older woman, sitting alone on a cracked stone bench beneath a flickering street lamp. Her hair was silver, not the dull gray of age, but the metallic sheen of something unnatural. "You've seen her," she said before I could speak. Her voice was low and steady, like someone reciting a truth she'd repeated too many times. I froze. "Who?" "You," she said simply, "but not you, the one from the glass." The cold crawled deeper into me. "What is she?" The woman shook her head. "Not what. When. She's what comes when your life starts slipping away from you. A better version, tailored to what you think you want. At first, she's only a shadow in the reflection. Then, she starts stepping closer. If you let her touch you." She broke off, glancing toward the nearest window as if afraid to see something there. "You won't be you anymore." I tried to laugh it off, but my voice cracked. "So what? She replaces me. She becomes you," the woman said, "and no one notices. Not even your own mother. You won't be gone. You'll be trapped on the other side, watching her live your life." and she'll live it better. That's the cruelty of it. Her eyes had that faraway look of someone who wasn't speaking hypothetically. Why me? I asked. The woman's lips tightened. Why any of us? She doesn't choose. She finds the cracks in the mirror, the lies you tell yourself, the pieces of you you've let die. She steps through them. I didn't realize until then that my hands were shaking. Can she be stopped? The woman looked down, pulling something from her coat pocket, a small key, old and tarnished. She placed it in my palm. You'll find a door. Not here, not in any place you know, but you'll know it when you see it. Behind it is the heart. Destroy it, and she goes. They'll, and her voice faltered. She stays. Before I could ask more, a sharp cracking sound rang out. The glass of the bus stop behind us splintered inward as if something had pressed against it from the other side. I turned just in time to see her, my reflection, smiling through the shattered pane. The woman grabbed my arm. Don't look at her too long. We ran, weaving through alleys, until the streets grew narrower and older. The air smelled different here, heavier, as though we'd stepped somewhere outside of time. That's when I saw it, a narrow door set into a wall of blackened brick, its frame carved with patterns that seemed to shift when I wasn't looking directly at them. The key fit perfectly. As it turned, the air seemed to thin, like the moment before a storm breaks. The door opened onto darkness that swallowed the weak glow of the street lamp behind us. The woman looked at me. This is where I stop. If you go in, you go alone. Something in her expression told me she'd made this walk before and failed. I stepped inside. The door shut behind me without a sound. The darkness wasn't empty. It pulsed. I could feel it under my skin, a faint vibration, like standing next to a massive machine hidden in the walls. I took a step, and the floor shifted beneath me, smooth as glass, but somehow warm. Ahead, a faint glow appeared, pulsing in rhythm with the vibration. As I walked toward it, shapes began to flicker at the edges of my vision. Mirrors, dozens of them, standing at odd angles, each reflecting a different version of me. Older, younger, bruised, laughing, crying. One mirror showed me in a wedding dress I'd never worn, Daniel's arm around my waist, his eyes shining in a way I'd never actually seen. Another showed me alone in an empty apartment, staring out a rain-streaked window. And then I saw her. She stood in the largest mirror at the center, bathed in that strange glow. Her smile was gone now, replaced by something colder, more direct. She didn't move as I approached, but her eyes followed me with unnerving precision. "This isn't yours," I said before I even knew what I meant. Her head tilted, the same way it had the first time I saw her in the cafe window. Only now I understood. She was studying me like a hunter studies prey. The glow came from behind the mirror. I could see it bleeding through the cracks in the frame, and I knew, without knowing how, that this was the heart the silver-haired woman had spoken of. I pressed my palms against the glass. It felt solid, but I pushed harder. A hairline crack spread across it, and she moved for the first time, slamming her hands against the other side to stop me. Her touch was ice and fire all at once, a shock that jolted through my arms into my chest. Memories spilled into my mind. Daniel laughing with her, my friends smiling at her, my life playing out perfectly without me. And the worst part, everyone looked happier. Even I did. My grip faltered. She saw it. Her lips curved into that hungry smile again. Then I remembered the silver-haired woman's words. "Don't let her touch you." With a scream, I drove my elbow into the mirror. The glass shattered inward, and the glow erupted into blinding light. She let out a sound that wasn't human, not a scream, but a tearing, like fabric being ripped from the world. I stumbled back, shielding my eyes. When I looked again, the mirrors were empty, all of them. The glow faded. I turned and found myself standing in the middle of my living room. The door, the darkness, the silver-haired woman, gone. For days, I didn't see her. Daniel came home, acting like nothing had happened. He never mentioned her, never mentioned anything. But last night, I was brushing my teeth when I saw it, in the corner of the bathroom mirror, for just a fraction of a second, a smile, and I knew it was only a matter of time, because you can smash the mirror, but you can't smash what's already inside you.